Most people in the video think and I appreciate that. The people that disliked it,
you hated
that
it.
And what was
China
here is that maybe for the first time, it was atheist viewers who were telling me how much I got it wrong, how much they disagreed. Now, of course, there's people in the middle, and I didn't put you over here either. There are people that said, hey, I really liked it, interesting conversation, but I disagree with her or with you here or here. Totally fine. And of course, like the title suggested, we had some outliers who really, again, interesting that they were atheists, I assume, based off their comments, who kind of sunk down to the level of what we typically only see from the very worst of those Christian commenters. My favorite being the one that I used in the title, which is that I'm not a true atheist. They also said that this video is a plug for Christianity. If I'm not a true atheist, who is? And if this channel is actually a plug for Christianity, can someone tell that to all the Christians? Because they think of it very differently. So what's the point of this video? Is this me being defensive because I got a lot of comments that disagreed with me and I want to be right? I have checked myself for that. I don't think so. I think I believe in that conversation. I think I believe in the goal that I've had this entire time, which is to help people who are doubting deconstructing or who have deconverted. And I know atheists don't agree. Of course we don't. In fact, it's kind of one of the points that believing in religion looks different for everybody. But are there some things we should be thinking about for the society at large when we are making this huge shift for really the first time in history from a belief in a deity to a lack of that belief? And so my goal for today's video is clarifying my core argument. And again, not out of defensiveness, but because I really believe that this is an incredibly important conversation no matter what side of the fence you land on. And I actually believe that a lot of the people who disagreed either, of course, didn't listen to the whole thing, or they misunderstood what we were saying, which I'm not putting on them. I'm putting that on Britt and myself. We could have better articulated things. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. And if you still disagree, wonderful. Let me know in the comments. But let's sharpen up what the message was before we end up on different sides. Even though it was a really silly and pedantic comment, I did want to start by addressing this idea, kind of paradoxically to how we typically see it, of the no true atheist. Just as much as I hate the no true Christian, this fallacy doesn't serve anybody on either side in any way. The dangers of holding this ideological purity test are very real. Acting like there's no nuance on critiquing religion versus accepting or rejecting religion. Acting like to agree with believers in any sense immediately disqualifies you. Finding good in something that is definitely harmful means it's what? No longer harmful. All of these things that go along with this kind of idea that if one doesn't become some militant anti-theist, they are not really an atheist. It's just small thinking. And if someone says they don't believe in God, I'm betting they don't believe in God. Because if they believed in God, just saying they don't believe in God for many of the religions is about the worst thing you can do. But that was one out of many comments that disagreed. And here's where I think a lot of the disagreement came from, and it was not understanding or me not articulating well enough the difference between criticizing, where secular society has gone in lieu of religion, against promoting that religion and its benefit. There is a whole world here that needs to be uncovered a bit better. If Britt and I say something like Christianity has important tools or religion has important tools for individuals, we are not saying it is the only thing that has tools. We are not saying that it's true, and we are not saying that it's good. I can't be clear enough on that point, and we should have just outright said that. I think the most beneficial thing we can do is just zoom out. I always like to zoom out. Religion exists. Do we agree? If we can agree that religion exists, that it had a beginning, probably somewhere near our beginning, it evolved right alongside with us, we can see this when we study history. And even if we know that it's false, and even if we know that it's harmful,
damn it,
do we think that it just still evolved along with us with no benefit? Do you think we hung on to it just to keep harming ourselves, just to keep holding on to a lie? I don't. I think it was, and for many people still is, useful. It doesn't mean it's true, it doesn't mean it's good, but it is useful. And for some people, it actually does provide well-being. Now, it might be hypocritical, and it might be at the expense of someone else, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't provide for the good for some people for some time. That's something true. That's something important to understand. It's also something to wrestle with. And there's also a huge difference we need to look at between how it affects the group and how it affects the individual. Now, a lot of what Britt was saying, and this is one of our points of contention, was she kept talking about how it affects the individual. Now, individuals create the society at large, and we should understand that, but there are ways that something can be good for the individual and not for the larger group. But still, as we're helping people move through the loss of religion one by one, can we talk about some of these tools that religion provides? Let me give you an example of where I think things went awry in the understanding of the conversation. Britt and I would talk about point one, which was that people lose objective morality. And And so many people got hung up right there and said, no, there is no objective morality. That was something they believed that was false. They can't lose it, Brandon, because they never had it. Yeah, they never had it. They thought they did. And we're talking about how it affects these people. If you grow up, you're indoctrinated. Your whole life is oriented around the idea that there is a grounded morality from a moral lawgiver. And then you lose your belief in that God. And so you have to come to terms for the first time in your life with the fact that morality is subjective, or that it's at least not grounded in something more objective. That's huge. Now, the way I see it, these two different approaches play themselves out drastically different towards that person going through this new struggle. We can argue with them about the semantics of how, no, you don't understand, you never had an objective morality to begin with. And let's stop there. How did that go for them? Did that help them at all? Did that provide any insight into how they should move forward? No. Or we can say, hey, you had this thing that you were living your life based around the idea of objective morality, and now you don't. That is a loss. I understand semantically it's not a real loss because it never existed, but to them it's a loss. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about people that are facing a new world. That's a very tricky thing. And the other thing is, and I'm going to just say this right now, there's a spectrum, right, of people that leave religion. Some people immediately do wonderful. They see it as empowering, a sense of freedom and adventure. Awesome. I'm so happy, truly. But there's people down here that take their own life out of sheer despair. And everyone in this middle that is affected by a multitude of variables that will determine how well they respond to this, whether it is their environment, their culture, their upbringing, their age, their income, their background, their community, etc. Like, it is an amazing set of things that will go into this. So if you're one of the people that it worked out great for you, awesome. But we are just talking at large here. We are trying to major in the majors. That was another thing. Someone would say, oh no, I was fine with it. Great. Truly happy for you, but can you not understand that there are people where it doesn't go very well, and they're not just weak of mind? And for me, at least, the goal of having that conversation with Britt was to better understand what is actually happening in these people's minds when they go through this change. And so we tried to do so with specific examples. I'll give you another one where people got really hung up. One of the examples would be prayer. A believer prays, and from the data that we understand, there is something beneficial that they're getting, even though that God doesn't exist, even though that prayer is going nowhere. It's not the only way to get it. No, of course. But it was where they were getting it. Some believers spend an immense amount of their life in prayer. And this is an excellent chance for them to talk to themselves. That was one of the things that we discussed, this inner dialogue that you get when you have a prayer life. And again, avoiding the woo and all of the things that are untrue about this. If you pray every day for the safety of your child, there is no God that is using that to protect your child. But by having that on the forefront of your mind, by having said that out loud each morning and each night, are you priming yourself to be more hyper-aware, to consider more about where your child goes and what they are doing and who they are with, and backup procedures for them if they get lost, etc.? Yes, that is a real, tangible outcome of participating in a practice that, though false, provides a path forward for some benefit. So if you lose religion, and thus you never pray again, I don't pray God, what are the tools like prayer that we should be holding on to, or learning about, or starting in lieu of the loss of prayer? Because that was a tool. And I'm hoping that I'm being way more specific and clarifying here. Because again, lots of comments about, oh, Brandon, you're endorsing prayer now? No, here, still, I will stand by this video on the problems with prayer. But what I left out of that video was that even for all those problems, it still did something that most people need to continue to do. And it's not praying, it's journaling or meditating. It is a way to have the inner dialogue, the conversation with yourself, to gain this awareness or perspective that otherwise going through your daily routine, you might not otherwise get. One of the things that Britt and I talked about a lot was, okay, now we have to be more intentional. Because religion gave you those tools. Hey, you should have quiet time, you should study your Bible, you should pray, you should gather, you should encourage, you should have accountability. All of these things that, yes, in the way that religion does it, might be false and or harmful, but at surface level are good for us nonetheless. And maybe we could frame all of this as the nuance of critique. Because again, I think that's where it really just got confusing for people, is you're used to hearing me say, faith bad, prayer bad, God not true. And then in this conversation, you heard prayer has benefit, religion had tools. And you're saying, wait a second, how are you justifying this? Again, the nuance of the critique is so important to be aware of. It was a 2-hour conversation for a reason. Tools versus truth claims. A distinct difference. Let me give you another example. When we got to the point of isolation, isolation. This is something that can come alongside for many people who leave a religion. And there's that physical isolation that I've talked about many times, and I talked about in that video, where we lose community because our communities are religiously based, and some of us feel like we can't participate in, or we are told we cannot participate in, those kinds of communities anymore. And then Britt brings up a secondary point that is internal loneliness that, yeah, we've always had, but if you were a believer, you didn't think you had. Similar to that objective morality. You thought you had a God that cared about each moment of your life. You thought you had a God that recognized when you did things that were good. And I actually cut a portion from the video for time purposes where I pushed back a little bit and I said, yeah, there's also bad things that come with that. A lack of privacy, a feeling of scrutiny, of constant shame. There's no doubt. But one of the reasons I felt good cutting it is because it wasn't the purpose. We weren't advocating for the fact that it was true or that there was no harm from the idea that a God watches everything you do. We were talking about how there is still a tool there, something that does work well for people's well-being, where they don't feel alone, where they feel witnessed and observed, and that we know psychologically humans have this inbuilt need. So in no way were Britt and I saying people should hold on to their belief in God so that they can continue to have this witness in their life. We're saying in lack of the belief in God, knowing we will lose this witness, what else can we be doing or thinking about to ensure that this loneliness isn't totally destructive to the non-believer? I'm hoping that you're hearing the heart of what I think both of us were indeed trying to communicate and what we are concerned about. That religion, like it or not, true or not, harmful or not, also had tools, and those tools are now needing to be replaced. And I agree they should be replaced by secular things, by things that are grounded in reality, by things that are tangible and useful without the byproduct of inherent harm. 1,000,000%. But we need to have that conversation. What are those things? How do we know those things are good? Can we measure the potential harm that could come from replacing them by this? And on and on and on. It's an ongoing conversation. I am ever learning. I want to continue to talk to people that are experts in certain fields. This was kind of a really wide open, abstract, here's all the things we should be thinking about. That doesn't mean I have all the answers for it. I do know certain things that aren't the answer, though. But again, it doesn't mean we don't need to find the replacement, because we are people. And that's another huge point. We're all humans, and even though we're all psychologically different, and we all come from different cultures and backgrounds, and we do have, at a higher level, different needs, at a base level, we all have a lot of very similar needs. This is the unification of humanity. I think it's actually quite beautiful. There is a reality to being human, and there are ways that most of our brains work most of the time. That is what religion had evolved with, and was providing answers for. Again, no matter how untrue and harmful they may have been, we need to find replacements. Because I used to have a naive take, not even during the course of this channel. This is something I had to grow out of in my early stages of deconstructing, that, okay, if this thing isn't true, and once I leave it, that will be enough. I'm sorry, I don't believe that will be enough. If it happens to be enough for some individuals, great, but that doesn't mean it will be enough. And this is where we got into the conversation of privilege. Ooh, yikes, scary term. I agree, guys, I hate the term privilege. I think it's been completely misused. I think it's attached to things totally incorrect, but it's the term that Britt chose to use, and when I got understanding from how she was using it, I had no problem hopping on board. If you want to call it advantage, if you want to call it luck, you can do whatever you want with it. I hope that I'm fostering a kind of community that doesn't get so hung up or so triggered by an individual word that we lose the forest for the trees. I'm going to use myself as the example, and again, let's replace that word privilege for whatever you want. I'm aware of all of this stuff. I don't believe in free will, so for me, we'll just call it luck or happenstance that I happen to have been interested in it, that I read books that led me to this understanding, that I get to have conversations with people like Britt who continue to widen that perspective for me, that I was born with a fully functioning mind that was able to learn and grow, where I can work at a job and make money and provide for my family and have free time. Even the fact that we live in this time frame where free time is something. For many people in many parts of the world, for most of human history, you didn't have downtime. You didn't get to have hobbies or interests. You had to survive. So pick whatever part you want for whatever reason, but the reality of my situation is, as someone who has left religion, though it has been incredibly hard, I am still what I consider to be thriving. I'm happy. I feel like I have purpose. I have a wonderful family. I have wonderful friends. I am not below the poverty line. I am able to provide in so far the way that I would like to. I get time at the end of each day. And, this is an example straight from our conversation where I connect with my kids and we do our own things now in lieu of reading the Bible together or praying together that create what I'm hoping I'm doing to help replace the tools that I don't believe in from religion for them. And so when Britt calls out, you get to do that from a position of privilege, yes, we can all get mad at that concept, but take the person just like me, my same age, my same race, background, married with 2 kids, make it as even as you want. But for whatever reason, they make a fourth of my income. They work an extra job. Their spouse dies of a disease. They simply don't have the resources, the free time, the awareness to know about these things that they've lost. They've deconstructed, they've deconverted, they lost their concept of God just like I did. They've got kids they're raising just like I do. But they don't get to create those moments of tradition. They don't get to foster those moments of community. They don't even know that they're not able to do that because they're so busy working their second and third job to provide the base necessities for their kids. There's a reality difference between me and that other person, and not just for those things that I mentioned, but for the outcomes of these families and these individuals, the kids, the spouse, the individual themselves, moving forward at what level of well-being they will have after leaving religion. Now, would religion fix all that for that person? No. But for many people, the religion had made some tools to make things easier. That person can still go on Sunday and their kids can have childcare, can be around other kids, can have built-in friends, essentially, can have adults that are sharing what they believe are moral lessons with these kids. Again, we can talk all day about why it's so wrong and why it's so harmful and where it can go wrong. But there are tools that religion has built in, essentially, that person over there needs to replace now that they don't have religion, but either they don't know or they don't have the time, money, resources, etc. to do so. And understanding that, instead of saying, well, I'm so lucky, look at me, everything seems to be working out for me and my family after I left religion, is ignorant to not consider that person's perspective or, again, community at large. And so as we move forward in conversations about what it means to leave religion, it is disingenuous not to consider other people's perspectives and realities that are different from our own. If you think that that's a bad thing and we have a negative connotated word of privilege that is inherently describing that difference, and so you want to not address it, I think you're missing the bigger picture. So enough with all of that. I know I get passionate because, again, I care. I really care for this group of people that go through the world's biggest change you can do. A 180 worldview shift of everything you thought you knew was true, no longer being true. What a tricky thing that is. And I think we can do better. I know we have to do better. Britt and I disagreed on the potential for the future, on how dire the situation was, on if we'd ever at a societal level be able to overcome this or replace religion well. But neither one of us thinks that means you should pretend to believe in God, which is another huge thing that seemed to be misunderstood in the comments. So for the record, I don't believe this God is real. I believe religion is harmful. I don't believe it's only harmful, though. And so when we leave it, yes, let's leave the harm. Yes, let's leave the falsehood. But let's replace the things that it did for us with better, healthier, more true and real things. I don't have all the answers. I'm trying to find out what all of that is. I want to share it with as many people as I can as I learn more about it. And I hope that many of you will continue to take this ride with me. One of the last things that Britt said in our conversation was that she appreciated the vulnerability we had in that conversation because, and I think all of you have probably seen this with Christians, but I'm seeing just how much atheists do this too, where we don't want to talk about the problems. So again, with Christians, they don't want to talk about how religion has a sexual abuse problem or how it has a denomination problem. They want to portray a sense of unity and correctness and higher morality because otherwise it might look like what they believe isn't true or isn't good. And I agree with Britt that atheists can do this as well, where we don't want to talk about how things are hard or where it can go wrong or the good things religion did for us that we need to find replacements for because we don't want to give the Christians a foothold to say, see? And I get that. I can totally feel that way. But I would much rather have a real, if we're talking about truth and reality here, a real conversation about the parts of, again, you can't even group all atheists together, but where the lack or loss of belief can go wrong or can be hard. And I would pretend that everything just gets better when you leave religion and that no God and no myth and no tools from those gods or those myths are not having an impact. however false or harmful they may also be. I'm adding that caveat all the time because I want to be crystal clear. So that's it for today. I have my next 3 videos mapped out, my Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday. I'm really excited about them. Please stick around for them. I'd love to hear any comments down below. I'm not looking for anyone that disagreed with me to now say, yep, you were right, I apologize, I agree. No. You don't owe me anything. You didn't hurt me by disagreeing with me. You may still very well disagree with me, and you might be right. I just want the conversations to be happening. Truly. Just want a space where we can all say, this is hard. This is confusing. Can we do better? What would that look like? And one thing that did resonate in the comments, and I'll end with this, is that many people said, I'm not sure if I agree, but you've given me a lot to think about. Great. Because as we always say at the end of each video, what I really want to keep thinking. I'd like to personally thank my top tiers of support. Cyclist, Ann, Boris, UVI, Jason, Joe, Kaboga, Perry, Rocket, Sean, and Strong Rex. My Humanist Heroes, Imposter, James, Jared, Christy, and Thronus. My Atheist Advocates, Caleb, David, Jeff, Jeffrey, Mrs. Webb, Paul, Sparky, and Todd, as well as all of my Secular Scholar patrons. If you believe in the mission of this channel, or you just enjoy its content, please consider joining these fine people.
Suck my dick, bitch. Spit, 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 spit. You stupid fucking bitch. Stupid fucking cunt. Suck my slut. I fucked his hole.
Jalmer, how are you doing today? Or Jelmer. Jelmer, you there?
Hello, Jelmer. Your phone might have gone to sleep. You might still be hearing this, but you might need to wake up and actually touch, since you're using the web utility.
Maybe.
So you might need to touch that browser window.
Yep, Jelmer might be stuck in some type of time paradox, though. I mean,
you can put him back in the queue.
This might be, yeah, okay. This might be a call for help. He might be stuck somewhere, and he's asking our advice.
There you are.
Jelmer, how you doing?
Yes, welcome.
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
Pretty good. I was making light of the technical difficulties, but now that you're here, we can talk about your subject. So, can you restate your question for us, just so we have a full grasp of what you're wanting to talk about?
Yes. My point is that I have heard Matt regularly say that existence is somehow necessarily bound to time. He regularly asks, what does it mean when you say something exists for zero or absolutely no time? Isn't that the same as non-existence? But I think there's a problem there, because if he says that existence is necessarily bound to time, this implies a scientific claim about the beginning of the universe. And I can easily show how.
Suck my fucking dick.
Hello?
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 Can you not hear us?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Suck my motherfucking
Yes,
dick.
we were waiting. Because you're
we hear you
saying
this whole
that
time.
it makes some kind of claim about the beginning of the universe, and you can demonstrate it. So what claim is being made about the beginning of the universe?
So,
I
let's
see
take,
your dick in your
so science takes time
I'm going to
as
stick
Planck
my
time.
dick in your butt.
So let's take the very first Planck moment. Planck moment is a picosecond. And let's take the first Planck moment of the universe and then go back that Planck moment. Was there anything in existence before that Planck moment? According
I have
to
no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea.
But when you say that existence is necessarily bound to time,
I see
there
a
can only
dick
be
in
two
your
options.
future.
Either there was
I
nothing in
see a
existence because
dick.
there was no time, or
Dick.
there was something in existence, but then there was also time as we understand it. One moment followed by another moment, followed by another moment.
Yeah, so the difference is that time, when we're describing
Suck my dick, bitch.
time, we're doing it within our reference, our space-time reference. Prior to the Planck time, everything we understand about that breaks down. So I don't know how to address anything prior to the first instant of Planck time. But within the framework of space-time,
Suck my dick, bitch.
existence is inextricably tied to time. It is space-time, and something that exists for zero time is indistinguishable from something that doesn't exist.
I'm fucking you up.
If you're talking, we can't hear you. I think you're using the web browser, perhaps on a phone, and your phone keeps going into sleep mode when you put it up to your ear, and you have to tap the browser thing again to wake up. Yes, I hear you now.
Right. So my question is, doesn't that imply that just before the first blank moment of the universe, there was either nothing in existence, or there was time, if there was something existing?
I don't know if there was meta time or not. I don't know what it means for something to...
What do you mean by meta time?
A time that isn't part of our local space-time. For example, if our space-time is encapsulated within some broader meta space-time, then there is a time frame under which that things might exist. But I don't know. I don't have any way to explore it. I have no way to assess it.
But that meta time is that meta time is that the same kind of time that we understand as one moment followed by another moment followed by another moment?
It may be. We don't know. We don't have any way to explore anything prior to the Planck time.
Okay, so but if it's a different kind of time, then isn't there? Can a believer just say when God is outside of time?
What? Wait. Why did you raise God? And outside of time?
Well,
that doesn't make any sense.
When someone claims that God is outside of time, you object that existence is necessarily bound to time.
Yes.
But now you're speaking about meta time. So what stops believers from saying
No. Stop talking and listen. I don't know, and neither does anybody else, anything about what may or may not occur or exist outside of our space-time reference. So, it may be that our space-time reference is part of some bigger reference, a multiverse reference, with its own version of time that I can't describe, can't explore, can't tell you about, but there's no reason to think that that's not a function of that meta-universe. We don't know. But there's no reason to think that our ignorance about what happens prior to or outside of our space-time reference in any way means that there's a God. And the God definitions make it outside of all time, including the potential possible meta time.
Damn it.
Well, but the believer can easily say that God is outside our understanding of time. It might be in meta time or in God time.
Then it's not outside of time, and it's a useless concept. If there's a God that you're pointing to that is part of a meta universe, then it doesn't fit the definition of being outside all space-time.
I'm speaking about a metaverse. I'm speaking outside of time.
Man, this guy's fucking stupid.
Outside of what
We
time?
understand it. Outside of...
God fucking damn it. God bucket.
What does it take to turn a skeptic into a believer?
God fucking damn it.
I couldn't control my own body.
Mark and Rebecca Spencer.
I couldn't control my own body.
Spit. No, give me the goddamn gun.
I couldn't control my own body.
Spit. God damn it. God fucking damn it. We spit. You stupid motherfucker.
Mark and Rebecca Spencer are about to learn the hard way.
It was about 5 or 6 seconds of sheer terror.
Their dream house turns into a nightmare. When they discover its horrific past.
Hearing all those voices just really changed my life.
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows in our most ordinary towns. Between the words we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality.
God damn it.
Rebecca! What's wrong? Rebecca!
Spit. With spit. Spit.
Rebecca! What's wrong?
I saw
What's wrong?
I saw something. A ghost.
A host. God damn it.
Monticello, Arkansas, 2005. For the past 18 years, Mark...
He tried to Jenna has Uzi arms me. God damn it. God damn it. Let me do my motherfucking exercises. It's a miracle. It's a fucking miracle. God damn it. With Uzi Emily. With spit. With spit. God damn it. God fucking damn it. We spit. God fucking damn it. You goddamn son of a goddamn bitch. God damn it. God damn it. You stupid motherfucker. Come on, you stupid motherfucker. You stupid bitch. Suck my motherfucking slut. Suck my slut.
Well, I guess we know who's really in charge around here, right? Well, I guess we know who's really in charge around here, right? Alright, let's take a short break.
Does she have a spit effect on? Show me the goddamn spit effect. God damn it. There.
Hi, Dom.
Let's go, baby.
Well, she had spit arms.
Baby.
Pit. 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 Oh, she had a spit effect arm. Did she have a spit effect arm? God damn, I had a bit. Did she have a spit effect arm? Suck my dick, bitch. Now fucking remove the... You stupid motherfucking bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. One of those motherfuckers going the way the dick birds and the dinosaurs, goddamn motherfucker. You suck my dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. God damn it. You suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. You suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. Come on, dick sucker from China. God damn it. God damn it. With a spit effect.
You are now in the narrative age. And in the narrative age, the truth is sacrificed for the narrative. It doesn't matter if it's on video, if you saw it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears. If it's against the narrative, then it will be deemed false. Period. And that is why the only term some people require for their beliefs to be validated is fake news. And that is why the term fact checker is now scoffed at, because the truth no longer matters. Only the narrative matters. Allow me to provide you with a wealth of examples, including what really happened on January 6th, what really happened in the wars that were fought under Trump, what really happened to the economy under Trump, and what really happened regarding corruption, division, and free speech under Trump. I've chosen these things in particular because each of these have very specific narratives that people believe without feeling the need to research whether or not they're true. That's the purpose of a narrative. They've practically become sloganized. People have a Pavlovian response to these narratives. They do your thinking for you. And if someone contradicts the narrative that has been etched into your mind,
you're rookie,
the narrative protects itself by labeling the contradiction as fake news. Let's start with January 6th.
You know how else I know it's not an insurrection? Because this is the first insurrection in the history of the world
where the people that were a part of it were unarmed.
The media, who they felt like they couldn't trust anymore. And so they're in the Capitol, and you know what's ironic? Not one of them was armed. I come from Missouri where a lot of people are armed. Not one of the people up here was armed. I don't know how you're going to take over the Capitol if you're not armed.
None of the people on the ground have firearms on them?
No, not a single one.
Really? Now, even though the Secret Service said 80% of the people that were at the ellipses just an hour earlier listening to Trump's speech didn't go through the magnometers because they saw people in the crowd that had firearms they didn't want to go through that all marched to the Capitol building. What, did they drop their gun off at a hotel? Did they give it to a friendly police officer? Did they send a fellow DC BLM guy to hold on to their rifle?
Not a single gun was ever recovered or on record at the January 6th insurrection.
Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no guns down there. We didn't have guns. The others had guns, but we didn't have guns.
The narrative is no guns on January 6th. And this narrative is a mantra repeated by Trump supporters, MAGA pundits, Republican legislators, and even Trump himself to this day. Let me ask you something. What does this look like to you? That's a guy firing a gun twice while at the Capitol on January 6th. He's a Trump supporter named John Banuelos, and he was arrested for gun charges because of what you saw in that video, and he was not the only one. Christopher Alberts, Mark Mazza, Jared Thomas Barger, and Guy Reffitt were also convicted and sentenced Jared Banuelos at the Capitol. Look like to you? That's a guy firing a gun twice while at the Capitol on January 6th. He's a Trump supporter named John Banuelos, and he was arrested for gun charges because of what you saw in that video, and he was not the only one. Christopher Alberts, Mark Mazza, Jared Thomas Barger, and Guy Reffitt were also convicted and sentenced for carrying guns into the Capitol that day.
Number one, make sure he knows they have an elevated flag in the trees outside Constitution Avenue. Look for the Don't Kill Me flag, American flag face mask, cowboy boots, weapon on the right side hip.
Okay, 3 minutes walking down the street. The seat will carry off the same copy of 14th of Independence.
Knives, guns in the form of pistols and rifles, bear spray, body armor, spears, and rifles. So, Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that Mr. Ornato told the President about weapons at the rally on the morning of January 6th? That's what Mr. Ornato about weapons. So, Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that Mr. Ornato told the President about weapons at the rally on the morning of January 6th? That's what Mr. Ornato relayed to me.
Video be damned, witnesses be damned, criminal records be damned. It didn't happen because it goes against the narrative. And the narrative is no guns. So there were no guns, period. You see, logistically, the police couldn't simply arrest all of those people at that time, so many of them were also naturally not caught, including many of the ones with guns. So a narrative took hold that none of them had guns. But some of them indeed were caught with guns, and many of them were seen with guns. And later, we even discovered that the Oath Keepers had entire stockpiles of firearms in hotels around the area ready to go. Cleveland Grover Meredith drove to the Capitol on January 6th to kill Nancy Pelosi, but instead he was caught with 2 firearms and 2,500 rounds of ammunition, and he went to prison for 2 years.
Cleveland Meredith Jr. was arrested soon after the insurrection. Agents found he drove hundreds of Cleveland Meredith Jr.
ammunition. and he went to prison for 2 years.
Cleveland Meredith Jr. was arrested soon after the insurrection. Agents found he drove hundreds of miles to D.C. and brought 2,500 rounds of ammunition and 2 guns with him.
But it's too late for the truth, because despite all of these examples and more, the no guns lie has been repeated so many times that it has now become reality to those who support Trump. And why is that even believable to them? Is it because they would never support carrying guns into the Capitol that day? Well, listen to the video. What was the reaction at the time? Was it, hey, you shouldn't have a gun? Did they try to stop him, talk him down? Did they call for help? Did they try to distance themselves from him? All normal reactions to someone firing a gun while at the Capitol, if you ask me. But no, they cheered. They said, fuck yeah! Now, I don't know about the pundits and the regular Trump supporters, but those Republican elected officials and Trump himself knew damn well that the rioters had guns at the Capitol. It's a matter of record now, legal record. And they stand up in front of microphones knowing that, and they lie to you. They stand up there and chastise the press for lying to the people. And they call the press the enemy of the people. All the while, they stand up there and they lie to you. And everybody knows politicians lie. The problem now is that it's not pissing you off anymore. Because now it's your team. You know, it's all team sports now. And the narrative is that the police let them in.
Been squished between the door and the mob screaming heave-ho. Fanone says it was like medieval combat.
The footage does not show an insurrection or a riot in progress. Instead, it shows police escorting protesters through the building.
Never mind the video of them smashing through windows. Never mind video of the police being crushed as they tried to keep people out. Doors were eventually opened, that's true. After the Capitol was breached, after the police failed to stop them, some doors and barriers were strategically opened in areas away from where the legislators were evacuating. This was to funnel the mob away from the evacuation effort, and it worked. Standard crowd control tactics. But that's not the narrative. The narrative is, it was like a tour. Tucker Carlson said they were all elderly people, and it was like they were on a tour.
But why were the legislators evacuating? Why did people arrive with gallows chanting to kill Mike Pence? The truth is that 140 police officers were assaulted. Good. Of course, these were the most extreme of Trump supporters. But after they failed, the narrative quickly threw them under the bus as FBI and Antifa, despite the fact that we now know who these people were, and they indeed were Trump supporters, and Trump himself even condemned them the next day, fearful of the 25th Amendment even at that late hour. But
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack yesterday, and to those who broke the law, you will pay. You do not represent our movement, you do not represent our country, and if you broke the law, can't say that. I already said you will pay. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of justice defiled, right? My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote.
now Republicans tell us that they were just exercising their First Amendment rights.
President Trump and his supporters were vilified for doing nothing more than exercising their First Amendment rights.
Look at what we did to regular Americans that just came up here to peacefully protest and express their opinion about an election. They just came up here to peacefully protest and express their opinion about an election.
Now Trump claims that they were wonderful, peaceful people, totally rewriting history, even though he himself condemned them on video. But video doesn't matter anymore. See, when the chips are down and he was afraid, he threw them under the bus right away. And now they're often claimed to be persecuted. But regardless of whether they were Trump supporters, or FBI, or Antifa, or a combination thereof, what we do know, no matter who they were, is that Trump himself had ultimate authority as the commander-in-chief, the highest-ranking official in the armed forces, and he never tried to stop them with force, not like he immediately did with clubs and tear gas used against protesters who he wanted to move out of the way so that he could have a photo op with the Bible. Now, for them, he was very violent, very decisive, but the narrative for January 6th is that Pelosi was in charge, and that she refused Trump's offer to send in the National Guard.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders.
But Trump made no such offer. There's no record of any calls from him. The National Guard, the Department of Justice, the Capitol Police, none of them heard anything from Trump. All of this has been investigated.
Within 15 minutes of leaving the stage, President Trump knew that the Capitol was besieged and under attack.
Has been investigated.
Within 15 minutes of leaving the stage, President Trump knew that the Capitol was besieged and under attack. On the screen is the presidential call log from January 6th. As you can see, there's no official record of President Trump receiving or placing a call between 11:06 and 6:54 p.m. As to what the president was doing that afternoon, the president's diary is also silent. It contains no information from the period between 1:21 p.m. and 4:03 p.m.
So are you aware of any phone call by the President of the United States to the Secretary of Defense that day?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Are you aware of any phone call by the President of the United States to the Attorney General of the United States that day?
No.
Are you aware of any phone call by the President of the United States to the Secretary of Homeland Security that day?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Did you ever get the president ask for the National Guard? Did you ever get the president ask for law enforcement response?
No.
So as somebody who worked in the National Security Agency with the National Security Council, if there were going to be troops present or called up for a rally in Washington, D.C., for example, is that something that you would have been aware of?
Yeah, I would have.
Do you know if you asked anybody to reach out to any of those that we just listed off? National Guard, DOD, FBI, Homeland Security, Secret Service, Mayor Bowser, the Capitol Police about the situation in the Capitol?
I'm not aware of any of those requests. No, sir.
We have confirmed in numerous interviews with senior law enforcement and military leaders, Vice President Pence's staff and D.C. government officials.
Miss Lurie.
None of them, not one, heard from President Trump that day. He did not call to issue orders, did not call to offer assistance.
I immediately deployed the National Guard.
But even if Trump did make such an offer, let's get something straight. A commander-in-chief doesn't offer the military, especially when it's needed in his own country, and doubly so in Washington, D.C. He doesn't offer the military, he orders the military, and they follow those orders, regardless of anything allegedly uttered by Nancy Pelosi. So that argument wouldn't do any favors for Trump, even if it were true. But it's not even true. The truth is that Trump watched and waited for hours as it all went down. He watched the event unfold on Fox News, on his television, in the White House dining room, and did nothing for hours as Trump Jr. pleaded with Mark Meadows, the White House chief of staff, to get his father to do something to stop it because he was worried about his father's legacy. But Donald Trump waited until the outcome was known before he called off the dogs by tweeting. The narrative focuses on Trump's plausible deniability statement in which he told them to peacefully protest, but ignores his more inflammatory statements, like when he told them to fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
The truth is that it's 4 years later and you still have a country and you're still going to vote even if you claim to still believe in widespread election fraud, because Trump doesn't predict the future, he just fearmongers about it. Trump is a guy who can tell blatant, provable lies on video, lies that everyone can clearly see are lies, and it doesn't matter to his devout supporters.
Well, Matt Whitaker, I don't know Matt Whitaker. Matt Whitaker worked for Jeff Sessions.
Well, I never talk about that, but I can tell you Matt Whitaker's a great guy. I mean, I know Matt Whitaker, but I never talk about conversations that I had.
Video doesn't matter anymore. Trump is a guy who likes to present himself as highly knowledgeable about people and events until those people or events implicate him in some sort of trouble. Then all of a sudden he magically becomes ignorant. I don't know them, he'll say. I had no idea what was going on, he'll say. Now anyone partying with Epstein was immediately suspect. But not Trump. A narrative was immediately crafted on Trump's behalf. Revisionism. Despite the dozens of sexual assault allegations that have been made against him in every single decade, going all the way back to the 1980s, including ones that involved Jeffrey Epstein himself. But a lot of people say it's just their word against his. And that maybe some of them are only doing it because of his presidential campaigns. Did you know that in a complaint filed in federal court in 1997, long before his presidential runs, a woman named Jill Hart accused Trump of repeatedly trying to grab her vagina? Sound familiar? That was 8 years before Trump's infamous grab him by the pussy remarks, and 19 years before that recording even went public. So you really think she was lying, huh? It was just a coincidence?
He didn't actually do the things he said he did, even though there are people on record accusing him of doing it years before he admitted to doing it. But here's the thing. Even if it were caught on video, just as Trump's grab him by the pussy remark was caught on audio, would it really matter to his supporters? Or is it more like Trump said that one day that he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and it wouldn't hurt him? He'd still be popular. We all know that he cheated on every one of his wives. If he can't be faithful to his wives, then why would he be faithful to his country?
Prone as they are now to manipulation by the looming quasi-fascist forces of the utopian, authoritarian, wannabe globalist state. Imagine.
God damn it. There's Trump supporters who absolutely hate the World Economic Forum. There's Trump supporters who would gladly execute Klaus Schwab, seeing him as the quintessential supervillain of the New World Order. The architect of "you'll own nothing and be happy," which is a phrase that came from the 2016 World Economic Forum. But you know what doesn't matter to them? Trump. Video of Trump at the World Economic Forum shaking the hand of Klaus Schwab and telling him what a great job he has done. Video doesn't matter anymore. Trump doesn't want to fight the elite or drain the swamp. He's jealous of the swamp. He wants to be the swamp.
We have had a tremendous success. Great success. This gentleman, as you know, he's done a great job. Thank you very much.
One more question.
The narrative is peace in the Middle East under Trump, no new wars. Now, at the end of Trump's term, there were more American troops in the Middle East than there were at the end of Obama's term. Never mind that Trump dropped a record number of bombs on the Middle East and Asia in the shortest amount of time, outdoing both Obama and Bush. 54,207 bombs dropped on Iraq and Syria. 20,777 bombs dropped on Afghanistan. 36,382 bombs dropped on Yemen. 504 bombs dropped on other countries. By the end of Trump's presidency, 33% of the bombs dropped in the 21st century were dropped during Trump's 4 years. 33%. But that's not the narrative. The narrative is Abraham Accords, peace, no new wars. To the 90% civilian casualties of those bombs, at least before he eliminated the casualty disclosure rules for obvious reasons, I'm sure it somehow did not feel like peace.
I ain't talking Joseph
Congress declares war, not president. Trump dropped bombs in places we hadn't touched. I'm sure that must have felt like new war to them, but what do I know? I didn't feel it, I didn't endure it. And we certainly didn't consider it war because Congress didn't declare it. So it was peace to us, right? Well, that's what I'm told to believe anyway, but I don't. Do you know the thousands? Do you know the thousands of people those bombs killed? Of course not. So if you start to feel bad about it, just call them terrorists. After all, that's what got us into the forever wars in the first place. And never mind the fact that you still have no idea who they were. Like, for example, this 8-year-old American girl who was killed in the very first attack approved by Trump, which he did so over dinner with Jared Kushner and Steve Bannon at their behest, 5 days after Trump's inauguration. Now, military briefings concluded that the operation was approved without sufficient intelligence, ground support, or adequate backup preparations, and as a result, a Navy SEAL was killed, 2 Marines were injured, an aircraft crashed. It was a disaster, but as I said, they weren't the only American casualties. That 8-year-old girl was shot in the neck, and it took her 2 hours to die. You see, her father was alleged to be a jihadist, so he was killed in a drone strike in 2011, 6 years prior, ordered by Barack Obama, back when she was 2 years old. Now, my instinct is to say that his little daughter, who was killed in the 2017 attack approved by Trump, was just collateral damage, that it wasn't on purpose. But
Take it out.
With the terrorists, you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families. They care about their lives, don't kid yourself. When they say they don't care about their lives, you have to take out their families.
So, can we say for sure that the death of this little American girl who was shot in the neck and took 2 hours to bleed out, can we say for sure that was an accident? Well, maybe it was. But sadly, no, we can't say that for sure because of things Trump himself said on national television to the approval of his mostly Christian followers.
We have a problem. The World Trade Center came down. And by the way, speaking of coming down, they put their families on airplanes a couple of days before, sent them back to Saudi Arabia for the most part.
Trump tacitly admitted on video that he knew the Saudis were responsible for 9/11. But then less than a year later, he danced with them, partied with them, accepted extravagant gifts from them, and then agreed to sell them hundreds of billions of dollars in weapons. And a couple years later, after Saudi Arabia used those weapons to commit genocide in Yemen, Congress decided to put a stop to those weapons sales because of the incredibly high civilian death count in Yemen. The president, however, has the power to override Congress in that case if he declares a national emergency. And that is exactly what Trump did, even though there was no real national emergency. He used it as a loophole and declared one anyway so that he could defy Congress and go ahead with 22 military sales to the Saudis, totaling more than $8 billion, which was no doubt then used to continue to slaughter civilians in Yemen. But thank God for no new wars under Trump, right? Because that's the narrative. And the narrative is that Biden fumbled the withdrawal from Afghanistan, resulting in 13 American deaths, which is true. And people were outraged, and still are, rightfully so. But notice how the narrative is not that Trump stayed in Afghanistan, despite promising to leave, which resulted in 65 American deaths in Afghanistan during Trump's term, exactly 5 times what it was under Biden. But that's only the truth, not the narrative, as we learned. Only the narrative matters now. So there is no outrage for the loss of those 65 American soldiers, which is why there are also no photo ops of Trump visiting their graves like he did for the 13 who died under Biden. He didn't visit their graves. They died on his watch after he promised to pull them out. So under the Trump administration, the goal became to forget the 65 dead American soldiers because they're bad PR, and so they were forgotten. And that's why you never hear about them. You only hear about the 13 who died leaving, and leaving is what he should have done a long time ago, but didn't. Trump is never at fault for anything, you see. It's always everyone else. Never him, the perpetual victim, always graded on a gargantuan curve because he's so very special. The narrative is economic boom under Trump and smaller government. The narrative is, weren't you better off under Trump than you are now? Just don't try to remember that 2020 happened under Trump, okay? Smaller government? Never mind that Trump drove up the deficit year after year, even before COVID, as if those deficits would not eventually be a problem for us, especially if an unforeseen catastrophe hit the country that required a lot of money we didn't have. thanks to the increasing and completely unnecessary deficits of 2017, 2018, and 2019, which made the economic strain of what he did during 2020 that much worse. But 2020 was the year Trump skyrocketed the deficit to the highest it has ever been before or since, $4.2 trillion. And from where did that money come? Well, we just printed it out of thin air, you see. And we couldn't tell it at the time, but that's actually a significant form of theft from you, as it devalues each dollar you already own. It's sort of like the perfect crime, because you're robbed without even realizing that anything was stolen. Now, in 2020, we were at a deficit to GDP ratio of 14.7%, the likes of which we haven't seen since World War II. And from where do you think inflation comes? But that was COVID, I hear you say. Sure it was. And guess who added totally unnecessary expenses to that? For example, Trump's tariffs naturally resulted in other countries doing retaliatory tariffs, the usual reaction to tariffs, which greatly damaged our agricultural exports that resulted in farmers facing a bankruptcy crisis. Not to worry, Trump to the rescue with $45 billion in subsidies to farmers suffering as a direct result of Trump's tariffs. A result he could have easily learned from by studying the disastrous effect of the tariffs that were imposed during the Great Depression, which made it significantly worse than it needed to be, just like his tariffs with COVID. Results that he still hasn't learned from because he's promising even more tariffs, which incidentally are just taxes, by the way, and they result ultimately in more inflation. And if he needs to bail out more people with handouts again, no problem, he'll just do it with your money again and drive up the deficit again. But you better not complain about free school lunches for American children. That's socialism, you see. That's welfare, you see. No, it didn't need to be this bad. You think those 2020 numbers didn't matter when Biden took office in 2021? Of course they did. And yeah, that 2021 deficit was high too. Not as high as 2020, but it was still pretty high at $2.7 trillion. And then in 2022, it was $1.3 trillion. The narrative is that Biden is 100% to blame for inflation. They put the cute little "I did that" stickers on everything, but the truth is that the deficit lowered under Biden. Bullshit. And that it was never as high as it was under Trump, and that inflation was going to happen no matter what, as it did all around the world to an even greater degree than it did in the United States. Not that Biden doesn't bear some responsibility, of course he does, but the narrative is that Trump had nothing to do with it. That's false. But it's not the narrative, so it doesn't matter. We're in the narrative age now. The truth no longer matters. The narrative is that without Trump, the stock market was going to crash.
If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay, let's move on to the next question very quickly.
But the truth is that the stock market kept going up to new all-time highs over and over again. The truth is that Trump wanted the stock market to crash under Biden to help his chances of being elected.
When there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months. Because I don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
The truth is that Trump regularly tried to stoke fears about the market on social media. Financial analysts noticed a pattern of market declines after Trump's fear-mongering posts, which they actually have an economic term for now called the Trump dump effect. In other words, you could have made money by buying dips after Trump posts. The truth is that Trump wants Americans to suffer so that he can swoop in and be the cure. He doesn't care about you. He cares only about himself. The truth is that he pressured Republican lawmakers to reject a bipartisan border bill that was pushed by Mitch McConnell of all people. Trump didn't want it to go through so that he could continue to campaign on the border problem, which he wants to remain a problem until he is elected, because he doesn't actually care about it. That might not be the entire truth, though, because conveniently the Immigration and Foreign Aid Bill that was set to pass before Trump told the Republicans to reject it also provided Ukraine with much-needed aid to defend itself against the Russian invasion. An interesting habit of Trump's, seeing as how one of the times he was impeached also involved his meddling with aid to Ukraine. It's no wonder people think he's in the pocket of the Russian government, but that being a hoax is yet another narrative reduced to a slogan. And this withholding of aid doesn't just apply to other countries, by the way, but also our fellow Americans, because Trump fancies himself a mobster, which is why he governed like a mobster. So it's only fitting that he's facing RICO charges in Georgia. Yet another reason he's desperate to win the White House. It's not for you, it's for him. It's for self-preservation. But let's talk about withholding aid before we get into things like corruption and the investigation into Russia. The narrative is that the Democrats didn't send enough aid to Republican-leaning areas ravaged by hurricanes, and that they did so for political reasons. Now, the truth is that significant aid was promptly deployed, according to multiple governors, including Republicans. The truth is that Trump's spreading of misinformation hindered the recovery effort, hurt his own constituents, and ended up causing aid workers to be threatened with violence, an increasingly common theme among those who listen to Trump. The truth is that what Trump accused of the Democrats were actually his own tactics when he was in office. Trump himself openly threatened on video to withhold aid from Democrat-leaning areas when he was president, like during the California wildfires.
The Trump administration has rejected California's request for wildfire relief funds. Our Phil Blauer has rejected.
Like during the California wildfires.
The Trump administration has rejected California's request for wildfire relief funds. Our Phil Blauer is here now with more on what this means.
Well, Kathleen, those funds were used for 6 recent fires, including our own Valley Fire in the East County, as well as LA County's Bobcat Fire, San Bernardino County's El Dorado Fire, and of course the Creek Fire still burning up in Fresno and Madera counties. Now, California did not ask the administration for a specific dollar amount because damage estimates are still not yet complete. Governor Gavin Newsom had said the funds would go toward helping rebuild public infrastructure, miles of roads, park signs, and fire shelters. Of course, they were hoping to get this through and get those funds from FEMA, but apparently tonight that is not the case. Again, a story to be continued. Kathleen?
Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers, and if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires, he's got problems. He's a lousy governor.
Later in the day, California professional firefighters put out this statement saying, "It is shocking that we have a presidential candidate who is threatening our public safety and doesn't even care what the consequences are to firefighters and the public."
But like I said, video no longer matters in the narrative age. He was cheered for it anyway, so it doesn't matter. In fact, denying disaster relief to blue states was Trump's standard operating procedure. He denied Washington State's request for FEMA funds after wildfires destroyed the homes and businesses of Americans, but Trump completely ignored the request. Right up to his last day in office, 141 days later, the longest a president has ever gone without responding to a disaster relief request from an American state. Biden approved the request 2 weeks after taking office. Trump also tried to withhold federal aid from Oregon, Pennsylvania, and New York. But if a red state needed aid, he sent it right away. If it's suspected of the Democrats, it's absolutely unacceptable. But if Trump does it openly, then it's based. And it's shamelessly applauded. That's the double standard. He also threatened to withhold COVID aid for purely political reasons. You see, solid blue country isn't really America to Trump, and those who don't support him aren't really Americans to him. According to Ron DeSantis, when Hurricane Michael hit the Florida Panhandle, Trump told him, quote, "They love me in the Panhandle. I must have won 90% of the vote out there. Huge crowds, what do they need? Unquote. And afterward, FEMA ended up paying $350 million more than it would have if not for Trump's directive. The truth is that Republicans all voted to defund FEMA, and then Trump criticized FEMA and the Democrats for not doing enough. The truth is that he would have criticized the federal response to the hurricanes in red states no matter what the actual response was, even though Republican legislators want there to be no federal response at all. The narrative is that they voted against funding FEMA to stop it from going to illegals. And the truth is that FEMA does more than disaster relief, including aid for migrant shelters, yes. But the Republicans voted against disaster relief specifically, which was under a totally separate part of FEMA, money that can only be used for disaster relief. Trump lied and said all the FEMA money went to illegals. That's blatantly, provably false. The truth is that Trump himself used FEMA funds on illegals, but Republicans didn't have a problem with that because it was used to detain and deport them. You see, if it hurts illegals rather than helps them, then they're okay with using FEMA funds, you see. I'm not sure how Christian that is, but that's the way it is regardless. And what about aid to himself? The narrative is that he's the only president to lose money as the president. And that he became president because he cares so much about America and wanted to save it.
Damn it.
Did you know that he donated his annual $400,000 presidential salary to charity? It's true. The narrative tells you so. The truth is that he made $2.4 billion while he was president. But his presidential salary, paid by the taxpayers, amounts to $1.6 million over the 4-year term. That's no small amount of money to give back to we the people, right? But the truth is that his golfing trips alone resulted in $142 million paid by taxpayers just to fund since a small army must accompany him. But that money never went to him personally, right? Wrong. Trips to Mar-a-Lago alone accounted for $59 million, and Trump himself provided accommodations for which he gladly overcharged we the people, adding to the $2.4 billion he made while he was president. But the $400,000 presidential salary went to charity, and that's all you hear about, isn't it?
Dick, bitch.
The truth is that he completely disregarded the emoluments clause. And the truth is, he accepted extravagant gifts from foreign governments, including boxes of gold coins from Saudi Arabia. A suggestive email about Biden will always be considered 100 times worse than if Trump does the same, explicitly and shamelessly. Some people thought that Biden was doing business in China, so he should be impeached or investigated. But Trump openly did tons of business with China, and none of his supporters cared. Since 2005, Trump has applied for 130 real estate and management trademarks in China, and none of them were approved until he became president. A lot of MAGA merchandise is made in China, ironically enough, including MAGA hats and shirts. The truth is the perfect opposite of the narrative.
God damn it.
While President Trump made more money than any other president, but the narrative is that he lost money. The narrative is that Trump is for free speech, but the truth is that he tried to silence many people. He continually tried to strip the broadcast licenses from networks that have aired criticism of him. The truth is that Trump himself posted that the Constitution should be suspended, only for his own benefit.
And the truth is that he wanted Americans jailed for 1 year if they dared to exercise their constitutionally protected right to protest by burning an American flag, for exercising their freedom of speech.
We should give a 1-year sentence in jail to anybody that burns the American flag.
Damn it.
Mike, do it.
God damn it.
A year in prison would completely derail your life, possibly make you homeless, and cost the taxpayers. For burning a piece of cloth in a country that prides itself on its freedoms. Insane. Those people cheering think they're patriots, but they only seem to like America as an aesthetic, a hat, a bumper sticker. But when it comes to the rights of people they hate, to say things they don't like, suddenly their American values go right out the window. Americans in name only. The truth is that Trump was the only actual government official to demand that Twitter suppress anything, namely people who insulted him. The narrative is that the government suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story, thereby violating freedom of speech. But that is not true on multiple levels.
They colluded with the government and big tech to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. We know that Democrats would have changed their votes had they been informed about Hunter Biden's laptop. We know that they would have not voted for Joe Biden.
First of all, the truth is that Biden had no role in the government at that time. He was only a candidate, not the actual government. So he didn't have the power to violate anyone's freedom of speech. Twitter, under no pressure from the government, obviously, since Trump was still the president, disallowed sharing the New York Post article of their own volition for literally 1 single day, because they thought it was disinformation at first. 24 hours later, they apologized. That's the big scandal. That's what all the pearl clutching is about, which is fake, by the way. 1 day. And the narrative is still that it was election interference, and that it could have affected the outcome of the election, even though it was just 24 hours, and despite all that Trump has done in attempts to undermine our elections. Perhaps your objection is that the management of Twitter behaved too politically, and that they should be neutral. Now, do you still believe that after the way Musk has run Twitter? Once again, you see that when you merely suspect the other side of doing it, it's unacceptable. But if your side does it openly and shamelessly, then it's based. That's because the truth doesn't matter anymore. You're in the narrative age now. The truth is that Trump used his power to threaten elected officials to find him enough votes to win. Not the correct number of votes, but just enough to win, the number he was behind +1.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have. I have to find 12,000 votes, and I have them times a lot. And therefore, I won the state. That's before we go to the next step, which is in the process of right now. You know. And I watched you this morning, and you said, well, there was no criminality, but I mean, all of this stuff is very dangerous stuff. When you talk about no criminality, I think it's very dangerous for you to say that.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break. I'll take on anybody you want with regard to Ruby Freeman and her lovely daughter. A very lovely young lady, I'm sure. But Ruby Freeman, I will take Freeman. I will take on anybody you want.
That's why he's facing some pretty serious RICO charges. Charges he must face if he doesn't become president, so the stakes are pretty high for him. The narrative is that it's lawfare, but the truth is that he broke the law. not for official government actions, but for his own personal gain. And he should be held accountable for that. The truth is that 84 fake electors signed false electoral certificates on Trump's behalf, for which many of them have now been charged with crimes. The truth is that he and his inner circle lied to you about widespread election fraud, and his lawyers were disbarred, successfully sued, and while under oath, they outright admitted that they themselves lied to you. Their only defense being that it was their First Amendment right to lie to you. Fox News lost nearly $1 billion for lying to you. Tucker Carlson hates Trump behind your back but loves him when he's on camera. These people are grifters who would sell our country, and some of them have been caught doing so. And they do nothing but lie to you. They are wronging you. Stop rewarding them for doing so. It's not lawfare if the crimes are real. Trump supporters are the victims of people like Steve Bannon, who stole their money after collecting it for a border wall. You know, the one that Mexico was supposed to pay for, yet they still defend him as being the victim of lawfare. It's like these people have Stockholm Syndrome. You're not a Trump supporter, you're a Trump mark.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you are able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
The narrative is that the Mueller investigation found no Russian interference in the 2016 election. The truth is that the investigation resulted in charges against 34 people and 3 companies, resulting in 8 guilty pleas and a conviction. This includes 2 members of Trump's campaign, Michael Flynn and Paul Manafort. One pleaded guilty and did a plea deal. The other was found guilty and sent to prison. And Trump pardoned them both. The truth is that Russia has been caught many times doing misinformation campaigns in favor of Trump. The narrative is that the Russia collusion scandal is the Dems' version of denying election results. But the truth is that Hillary Clinton immediately conceded the election, and there was never any ridiculous conspiracies about Russians physically meddling with our ballots, nor were there any attempts to overturn the election results of 2016. What was alleged about the Russians was the truth. The IRA ran social media accounts in Trump's favor and spread disinformation. Russia had access to Trump's inner circle. That's true. And to this day, Russia continues to meddle in our elections. That's nothing new. A lot of countries do. We certainly do it in other countries too. It's called black propaganda. Lauren Chen is a popular conservative pro-Trump influencer who personally hated my guts because I called her out on her bullshit. She should have listened to me because now she is currently in serious trouble, accused of accepting millions of dollars from Russia to promote people who they felt would spread a narrative in Russia's best interest. Millions of these dollars were paid to Trump-supporting influencers, including Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, and Tim Pool.
This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy. The Ukraine operation is clearly something that is being run to enrich our elites and also, of course, to give unaccountable mountains of cash to some of the most evil people on earth.
Awesome dudes, we're subsidizing small businesses in Ukraine.
Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation.
We're subsidizing small businesses in Ukraine.
Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should
You know, in Ecclesiastes 1:7, it describes the hydrologic cycle, which wasn't known at the time.
No. What was known at that time is that somehow the streams keep on flowing and somehow the ocean still isn't full. And what was commonly believed at that time was that water came up out of the earth through springs. That's what Ecclesiastes implies. It doesn't say anything about evaporation or condensation, because no one knew about either of those things. They didn't really even know precipitation. And chapter 38 of the book of Job confirms this, with God himself saying that he is the father of the dew, and that he keeps lightning, snow, and hail inside his storehouses.
It was believed during biblical times that the oceans were just flat on the bottom. No one had any clue that there were mountains in the oceans or springs in the seas. We know that now from sonar. But that wasn't known or believed back then. But Jonah 2:56 talks about the mountains in the oceans.
And Ezekiel 26 prophesies the destruction of the island city of Tyre at the hand of King Nebuchadnezzar. That prophecy failed on several significant points, but the city did eventually fall, at least momentarily, to a different invader a couple centuries later. Alexander the Great took the city by building a causeway, extending a peninsula out to the island, connecting it to the mainland. So there's no way they didn't know that an island is but a mountain in the sea.
Okay, that's good.
Jonah 2:56.
You're talking about Jonah 2, verse 6, not 56. Wherein it does not talk about mountains beneath the sea, but the roots of mountains, meaning the foundations of the mountains that form the islands above the sea. So again, yes, even way back then, they already knew that islands were the tops of mountains that were rooted in the sea.
Job 38:16 describes the springs in the seas.
As I just mentioned a moment ago, Job 38 says a lot of crazy things that we know are not true. That came up a moment ago where God says he keeps lightning bolts and snow in storage rooms. And we'll look at Job 38 again in the very next episode. But for the moment, let's remind you that it also has God himself saying that the earth is flat, taking the shape of clay under a seal. He says that it has foundations, footing, and a cornerstone. It even says that the stars sing, and that the sea is shut behind doors. Doors. That's what Dutko means by springs. See, in the ancient cosmology on which the Bible is based, the earth was thought to be a flat disk erected on pillars and covered by a giant crystal dome called a firmament. And there were supposed to be windows in this giant dome to let in the water above the firmament, because the simple people who wrote the Bible thought of the earth as a snow globe immersed in a vast oceanic abyss, and they imagined springs below the earth would let water in or draw water out as well. And all of this was already known to be false even while the Bible was still being written wrongly.
Do you know that some engineers, some non-believing atheist engineers, wrote an article for Smithsonian.com? I documented 2 of my top 10 proofs. For Smithsonian, saying we were just curious about the mythological story of Noah's Ark. Would it be possible to create some kind of a big boat that could carry that size cargo of animals and survive being in the waters without tipping over or sinking or whatever?
In an attempt to find whichever Smithsonian article Dutko is referring to, I looked up his top 10 proofs online. I expected to see a webpage listing 10 misunderstood and misrepresented assumptions asserted as if they were facts or as if they meant something that they didn't. And I thought that somewhere in there I might find a link to the Smithsonian article he was talking about. But what I found instead was a grift. Over 3 dozen CDs of Bob Dutko droning on about things he knows nothing at all about. Understand that for the high price of hundreds of dollars, you can have 46 consecutive hours of Bob Dutko's raving insanity. That's a dollar store value marked up 300% so that he can then pretend to shave a bit off the top and offer it to you on sale. And his gullible rubes are so credulous, they actually buy into it. Remember the previous 17 episodes of this playlist where we showed how Dutko is absolutely wrong about absolutely everything he said, where he hasn't been right about anything yet. Nothing that is both factually accurate and indicative of his conclusions.
God damn it.
This series so far only corrects 2/3 of one 1-hour sermon. How much wronger would he be if you let him drone on literally for days? 46 hours of non-stop nonsense from a know-nothing professional liar being wrong all over everything. But wait, there's more. For just $20 a pop, you can hear every ill-informed opinion this ignorant, bigoted idiot ever had. Man, religion is such a sweet scam. All you gotta do is lie to people who want to be lied to so that they can make believe what we all know is not really true. If I didn't have ethics, or a sense of pride, or honor, or shame, if accuracy and accountability didn't matter to me at all, if truth didn't matter to me, I would be rich as a preacher.
So these structural engineers decided to calculate the exact calculations through engineering of what the length to width to height ratio and everything would need to be in displacement of water to figure out. And you know what they said? And I quote them in their Smithsonian.com story. They say, we don't believe in the story of Noah's Ark, of course. But in an amazing coincidence, it happens to describe the exact perfect engineering ratio details for a seaworthy craft.
Having come this far along in our playlist, you probably won't be at all surprised to learn that when I read the article and played the audio interview too, both of which are linked below, I found that that is not what they really said. When asked how accurate their findings were, these graduate students replied that they're only accurate to a degree, and that their many approximations and assumptions were, in their own words, a bit woolly. They even cautioned that readers should take their results with a pinch of salt. That woolly pinch of salt approximation is what Bob Dutko declared to be exact perfect engineering. Obviously, he failed to heed their warning about not putting too much stock into this.
That's the only ratio that they came up with is the one that's written in the Bible. So they call that an amazing coincidence. I don't think it is.
I actually agree. It's not a coincidence at all. All these students did was examine simple ratios between what is too long, or too wide, or too tall. And what they settled on is the same ratio of these three dimensions as cargo shipbuilders already knew back when the story was written. Because we know that the story of Noah's Ark is based on much older stories, themselves based on an even older real-life event, or an inundation of the Euphrates River around 2900 BCE, wherein the Noah character was not Noah, but Ziusudra, and then later versions changed his name to Atrahasis or Utnapishtim and so on. And we know that the story of Noah was not written 5,000 years ago. Scholars of biblical history consistently say that the revised, highly embellished and exaggerated version that we now read in the Bible is only half that old. By the 5th century before our current calendar, tradesmen already had cargo ships, and they knew how to recognize what is shipshape. And these quoted students calculated that if you used all the interior space provided in the dimensions given in this fable, you could conceivably fit in a couple million sheep and still float. However, that is without any consideration of food storage or fresh water or even oxygen, such as you would be required for this cargo. Modern livestock ships of the same size as Noah's Ark can only pack in thousands of sheep, not even tens of thousands, much less millions, because they need to carry so much food and fresh water just to voyage for a week or so. And they need massive ventilation with fans running, or else everything would overheat and suffocate immediately. And more important than that, all modern ships of the same size as Noah's Ark that only carry 16,000 sheep or so have to have a means of propulsion and also steering. Otherwise, in rough seas, one wave will turn the vessel against the second wave, which will then roll it over, killing everything on board. We've seen that at least a half dozen times just in the last decade or so. Noah's Ark, as it is described with these dimensions, would be no different, except that it's supposed to be made of wood, not steel, and it is a size that is at least 4 times larger than a wooden ship could possibly be without disintegrating under its own weight, even without cargo.
Damn it.
Plus, the fable says it was just a box without propulsion or steering. It would be grossly overloaded and not at all ventilated with no provisions, and that wouldn't matter because everything on board would be dead by the end of the first day, even in calm seas. We know that. There's no sense trying to pretend otherwise. Noah's Ark is a sick, ridiculous fable that is indefensible scientifically, logically, and even theologically. It cannot bear any critical analysis whatsoever. We know for certain that there was never a global flood, and we have known that for centuries because several independent fields of study can show that not only that it couldn't happen, but we have proof that it didn't happen even if it could have. If you're still trying to make believe that there was a flood, trying to convince yourself that it happened when we've already proved that it couldn't and didn't, then you're trying to be stupid. The time to give up on that myth was the same age as when you gave up on Santa Claus, and for some of the same reasons, too.
God damn it. Come on, you goddamn dick sucker.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Misquoting Jesus. This week we are talking about the Apostle Paul, a central figure in early Christianity, and someone who features strongly in the New Testament, both because he wrote a good part of it, but also as a character in the Acts of the Apostles. The question at hand today is whether the Paul of Acts is the same man as the Paul of Epistles. Does the writer of Acts change Paul's character, teachings and events he experienced, and why? Stay tuned for that and so much more. Welcome to Misquoting Jesus with Bart Ehrman, the only show where a 6-time New York Times best-selling author and world-renowned Bible scholar uncovers the many fascinating, little-known facts about the New Testament, the historical Jesus, and the rise of Christianity. I'm your host, Megan Lewis. Let's begin.
Holy goddamn ghost.
Bart, good morning. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing well. I'm keeping up with my New Year's resolution of staying busy without being overwhelmed. it's a tricky balance.
Holy ghost. Holy goddamn ghost. Holy ghost. Holy ghost. God fucking damn it. Holy fucking ghost. Holy ghost. God damn it. God damn it. God fucking damn it. You stupid motherfucker. You can kiss that goddamn bishop goodbye, you slut. Suck my fucking dick, you bitch. You stupid fucking bitch. Man, you're really starting to fucking piss me off. You're really starting to fucking piss me off. That goddamn dip fucking shit on the hair. Fucking bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Bitch, suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. Bitch, suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. God damn it. God fucking damn it. God damn it. The goddamn motherfucker's trying to Jenny has Uzi arms me. You stupid goddamn motherfucker. Yeah, now you're gonna lose one of those goddamn rooks. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my dick, bitch. Oh, you goddamn dick sucker. Suck my dick, bitch. Suck my motherfucking dick, bitch. God damn it. Come on, you goddamn dick sucker. You stupid motherfucker.